Welcome everyone, and we're going to be doing Yin Yoga for the legs and for the hips today. And so if you have a blanket handy with you, that would be really good. We will be starting off in wide knee child's pose. So for child's pose, we're coming down onto our knees, taking our knees out a little wider and bringing the big toes to touch. And you'll be sinking back into wide knee child's pose, forehead touching the ground or on a pillow. So if you have a hard time with this in child's pose, you can always roll up a blanket and place it in between your calves and your thighs. So just take a moment to settle in. Arms in a comfortable position. Okay. And then feel yourself sink a little deeper into your space. So we take a moment at the start of the class to prepare our minds and bodies for our yoga. Okay. And it starts with the breath that flows in and out through your nose. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And as you breathe in, feel your lungs expanding and breathe all the way to the back of your body. Feel it wrap around you, that big inhale. And as you exhale, slow down the exhales and feel tension begin to melt off of you towards the mat. Next exhale, soften your legs and your arms. Feel them grow a little heavier. And relax your belly a little bit more. Next exhale, soften your facial features, the skin around your eyes, the forehead. Next exhale, relax your belly, feel it soften. Just a few more breaths here. Throughout the class, we resist the urge to fidget, to move around. We're looking for stillness. And we use the breath as our anchor for this. So as you inhale and exhale, focus on the breath, the in-breath. And as you exhale, focus on the out-breath. Three more breaths. Last one. Slowly begin to make your way out of this pose. So walk your hands in so that you can safely press up, taking your time to come into tabletop. And from here, you may wish to stretch one leg out and then the other. Okay, some intuitive movement wouldn't hurt either. Maybe you'd like to do some cats and cows, some slow movements, warming up the spine a little. Okay. Stretching those legs out. If downward facing dog is okay for you to do, it will feel really good too after that long held child's pose. Now, next pose is going to be Sphinx Pose. So to do this, you'll be coming down onto your belly. Okay. all the way down to your belly, and place your forearms on the ground. Forearms are parallel to one another with the elbow making a 90-degree angle. Okay? So feet about hips width apart with the toes pointed straight back, and your belly is resting a little on the ground here. So if it feels too intense of a back bend, you can always walk your hands forward, or you can place a blanket under the belly to give you a little bit of support. Right here, we are going to relax the shoulders back into a natural position. So not too high up towards the ears, not too intensely shoved away from the ears as well. So a neutral position, and you're drawing the belly button forward slightly, creating a little bit of length through the front of the body. We'll hold it here for a minute. Slow, deep breaths. Closing your eyes, a soft gaze down the bridge of your nose. In a moment, we'll be coming into Sphinx Pose. If this pose feels intense enough, you might want to remain right here, or you can even come out of it and take a break. If it's okay for you to come into Sphinx Pose, it will deepen the back bend, the front stretch. And to do so, you can walk your feet out a little wider and do the same thing for your hands. Walk them out to point towards the corner edges of the mat, the top corner edges. And then pressing down into the palms of your hands to lift the elbows slightly off the mat to create a little bit more of a back bend, going as far as to straighten the arms. So if that feels intense enough, you can stay there. For those of you who are very open, you can even walk your hands in towards the body. And it doesn't matter how high you can lift, it's how well you feel this stretch. You want to be able to feel a little bit of the stretch to the front of the belly into the chest. Chin lifts up slightly as well. Yeah, let's stay here for just about 3 more breaths. Last one. Especially if you've gone into Sphinx Pose, you'll want to slowly come out of this pose by bending those elbows and coming all the way down to the floor, bringing one cheek down onto the mat, relaxing your arms, and pick your feet up to it and point the heels up towards the ceiling. And then let both heels drop towards one side, slowly back to the center, and then to the other side. A simple side to side movement. Perfect. And coming back to the center, carefully push your way back up into tabletop. And once again, once you're back into tabletop, I encourage you to just move intuitively. Cats and cows, moving the hips around a little, drawing circles, things like that. Okay. And moving slowly as well. Don't feel the need to rush. Good. Our next pose is going to be a square pose. And to do this one, it might, especially if you tend to round the lower back, it might benefit you to sit up on a bolster, a pillow, or a blanket. Okay? So to do this, we're going to do this twice. Once with one shin in front of the other, and then we'll switch it around. So bring one foot in front of, one shin in front of you. You want to try to get it as parallel to the top edge of the mat as you can, and then the other one in front. So it looks like your shins will be parallel to one another. So if this feels intense enough, you can stay right here, and then belly will be bowing forward. And you can walk your hands forward, great. If not, you just have it by your side. So for most people, this will feel quite intense. If you happen to be very open in the hips and you need a little bit more, you can take it right into fire log. Now we're just at the start of the class. This might feel a little too much, but in fire log, it looks like your shin bones are stacked one on top of the other like like fire logs, right? So one of the other, we'll take an inhale to lengthen the spine, sitting right here. Or if you need more, you're bowing forward. It's okay to round the spine slightly because we were trying to relax a little, but try not to push it by rounding the spine too much. Okay, so a little softness in the spine is fine, closing your eyes and then bowing forward. Throughout our Yin Yoga practice, let's try to remain in the moment and present. So you'll notice throughout the moments of quiet that your mind will tend to wander. So try to bring it back into the moment of right here and right now. Notice what this pose is doing for your hips, for your shoulders. Notice if the shoulders have tensed up. If it has, relax them. Soften your facial features. Just about 5 more breaths here. One more. If you happen to have bowed forward, come back to seated upright. And before we come out of this pose entirely, the leg that's on top or in front, we're twisted towards that knee. So we're twisting towards the top knee or the knee that's in front. And you can go little twist or a big twist. A little twist, you're just twisting naturally. A bigger twist, you're taking the opposite hand to the outside of the thigh and looking for a deeper twist. Just 3 breaths here. Unwind and come back to the front. And before we move on, just make sure you notice which leg's in front so that we'll be sure to switch it around. So windshield wipers before we move on. Feet on the ground, just let the knees drop side to side, a little bit of movement. Okay. And then we'll be doing the same thing on the other side. Okay, so again, having your shins parallel to one another, or a little bit more open in the hips, you're stacking the shin bones. Nice tall spine, a long spine, bowing forward as far as you can go if you choose to do that. And then it's okay to soften the spine, relax the face, and breathe. We've got 1 more minute here. I just want to remind you that even though we are trying not to let our minds wander, if it does, just know that it's a natural instinct for us. It's okay, just let it go, forgive yourself, and just bring yourself back to the moment. So let us take about 3 to 5 more deep breaths here. Last one. Okay, so if you had bow forward, start to slowly make your way up to seated, and then we're twisting towards the knee that's on top or in front. So little twist, or if you take your hand to the outside of the thigh, it'd be a deeper twist. So tall spine, a soft gaze towards the back wall, 3 deep breaths. Unwind back to the front. Lean back a little so that you can uncross those legs and feet on the ground. Just let the knees drop side to side. It may also feel good here to just stretch those legs out as well and just kind of pedal up the legs a little. So our next pose is going to be dragon pose, and it's a low flying dragon. So I'm going to demonstrate it for you, but you will have one knee down on the ground for this one. So if if your floor is a little hard here, your mat's a little thin, you can use the blanket for extra cushioning or even a pillow under the knee. Okay? So to come into this pose, you'll be coming onto your hands and knees or downward facing dog, and we'll be bringing the right foot forward. So we'll help it up, right foot up in between the hands. But for this one, we're going to walk the foot out a little, so a little wider than normal. So normally we have it in between both hands, but we'll walk it out a little wider so that we can bring our hands to the inside of that right foot. Okay. So now if this is hard for you to do, you can always grab a pillow or a bolster. Just show you something that you have handy, just to give you a little height. Okay. If you do have your hands down, you're trying to get the chest to square to the body. And for this one, don't let the knee open up. Keep the knee pointed straight up towards the ceiling. For those of you a little bit more open in the hips and need more, and only if you need more, you can come down to your forearms. You can do that halfway through as well. So relax the shoulders back into the neutral position always. Okay. Left knee is at least slightly behind the hips. We hold it here. Check in right here to see if this is enough. If you're on your hands, if you need more and you're thinking of coming down to your forearms, try to keep the chest facing the ground. So again, if you have a pillow handy, you can try that. Chest facing the ground. And the knee is still pointed up towards the ceiling. It'll want to open up, but you're just keeping it pointed up towards the ceiling. It's a lizard pose, okay, or a low flying dragon. Check in with your breath. If it has sped up, slow it down, especially the exhales. Keep it slow as the inhales. For this next 5 breaths, only if you feel like it, so it's just an option, we are going to introduce a twist. Just be very careful as you do this. We're keeping the opposite hand down, the left hand down, and we're taking the right hand to the inside of the right thigh, and we are gently letting the knee open up. So notice the sole of my right foot is exposed for this one. You want to open it up. Okay, so a little twist. And just one more breath here. So to come out of yin poses, we always come out slowly. Let's do that now. Slowly come back into your tabletop. Okay, so especially after that dragon pose at low line dragon, a downward facing dog will be really nice. So if you're able to come into down dog, if it's part of your practice, come into it. If not, just a tabletop will do, stretching out those legs. And then let us set up for the other side. Okay. So it will be our left foot that comes forward. Again, we walk it out a little wider to make space for our shoulders. Knee pointed up towards the ceiling. That right knee is slightly behind the hip. And you can stay right here or halfway through. You can come down. If you want to come down right now, that's fine too. Again, shoulders are neutral. Soften your facial features. Breathe slowly and deeply. Even while you hang out here, your hips are pressing down slightly to open up the right side, the front right side of your hips, so right into the hip flexors. If you had come down to your forearms on the other side, you might want to keep it even and have your forearms down. Again, doing your best to keep the chest facing the ground and letting the knee, keeping the knee pointed up towards the ceiling still. If you had done the twist on the opposite side, you might want to try it this side. And we're bringing that hand to the inside of the thigh, and we're letting the sole of the foot expose without twisting at the ankle. Okay, so the movement comes from the hip joint. And press it open. One more breath. All right. So slowly we unwind the spine. We take our time again to come back into that tabletop or the downward facing dog. Stretch out the legs, make those movements. Right? Good. So the next pose is going to be frog pose. So this one targets the insides of our legs. And especially this one, if your floor is thin, you might want a blanket for this one. So for this one, we're coming into tabletop pose, making sure that the hips are lining up with the knees. And then we're drawing the knees out a little wider. And you start to feel the stretch to the insides of the thighs that way. Okay, so as for the foot, it looks like a frog. So the toes are pointed out at an angle. Okay, so for this one, if you have a hard time with your feet in frog pose, you can always bring the toes together and come right into baby frog. So you're walking your knees out a little wider until you feel the stretch, and then bring your forearms down onto the ground. And you can hug a pillow here if you like, or place a block or the pillow under your head. Or stack your fists like me, and you're able to rest your head on something. So, and if you can't quite feel the stretch here, okay, if you can't quite feel the stretch in this pose, you'll need to play around with the hips here. So oftentimes just shifting the hips back a little deepen the stretch. And some people prefer shifting it forward and widening the legs. So it's a little bit more, you can play around with this pose little. As long as you're feeling the stretch in inner thighs, we're trying to open it up there a little, you're good to go. It does make it a little bit more comfortable if you're able to place your head down on something. Okay, so we've been here for a while now. I'm just going to get us to do this for another 5 to 8 breaths to take us to that minute. So slow deep breaths. Just one more breath, make it a good one. Nice deep inhale, slow control exhale. Okay, and we're not going to come out entirely, we're not going to come entirely out of this pose yet. I'd like you to shift forward. And if you have your legs out in the traditional frog pose, just bring your big toes together to come into baby frog. And that way you can sink the hips back towards those heels and forehead on the ground or on your forearms or block. So stay here. Just let this pose marinate just a little longer. Couple more breaths here. All right. And take your time to come out of this pose. Shift forward. Let the knees come back towards one another. Okay. And then stretch it out. Some movement, down dog. Okay. All right. So in a moment, after you've made some adjustments and some movement, we will be doing pigeon pose. So single-legged pigeon pose. This can be intense For those of you who know it, you know it can be intense. It's the one where I'll go through this right away in a moment. It looks something like this. And as you can imagine, it can be hard for your knees. For those of you who don't want to do this, you're going to come onto your back and do figure four stretch. Okay, so it will be the right ankle on top of your left thigh, creating that inverted figure four shape. And you can stay right there or wrap your hands around the leg that's further away from you. So this is a good modification for you. For those of you okay to come into pigeon pose, let's head right into it. You'll be bringing one shin, the right shin, sorry, right knee forward, okay? And it's going to be the right knee close to the right wrist. And then the foot is off to the left side. And your back leg is straight back. And you can hang out here for a moment if you like. We're coming into a sleeping swan or sleeping pigeon pose. So we're coming all the way down to relax. If you find that your right hip is lifted quite high up for this one, you can place a block or a pillow under that right hip so that you're a little bit more supported. Okay, or a blanket, place it under. And once you're ready, you're going to come down. After a while, your stretch may have dissipated. And if you need a little bit more, you'll curl your back toe under, the left foot, curl it under and draw that foot back a little and give it a little pull back, and that should deepen the stretch for you. If that still doesn't do anything, the front foot, you can gently move it forward as long as you're not straining the knee to try to bring the front shin a little bit more parallel to the top edge of the mat. We're more than halfway through this pose. And if this pose can be very intense for a lot of people, and if that's the case, just stay here, stay with it, stay with the breath. If you find that you need just a little bit more, we're going to add a little twist to the spine. So this should deepen the hip stretch for you. But it can be a lot too. So we're going to come into it in degrees. Okay, so we walk the hands up a little and we're twisting towards the knee. So you can do this by bringing the opposite forearm on the ground, and that way your chest starts to twist towards the bent knee. You can also, and only if you're very open to the hips, you want a little bit more, you can stretch that arm all the way through as though you're coming into a twist. Okay, and then finally, I'm just showing this out as an option. Okay, if you want even more than that, you can take the top arm and bring it across the low back. Again, all that just options. You can stay with pigeon. Almost there. Just another 3 to 5 breaths. Last one. All right. So let's make our way out of this pose. Slowly, as always, walk your hands in towards the body. It will help if you shift over to one side so that you can bring that foot in a little. And you're all by yourself, muted, so you feel free to groan a little as you walk it out. It's normal reaction to pigeon. It's a lot. Okay, so and when you're ready for it, you'll move right into the other side. And if this side, the knee doesn't work for you, you're gonna come on down to your back and do the figure four. Exactly the same thing. And make sure you're wrapping your hands around the leg that's further away from you and bringing that knee in as the stretch starts to dissipate. So if you're doing pigeon, okay, or sleeping swan, make sure the knee is lined up with the wrist, okay, and the foot is slightly over to the right side. That back leg is straight back, nice long spine, and coming forward. So you can try to keep the hips and shoulders level to the ground again. A block under that left hip if you are twisted. The spine should be nice and straight. So, settle in, deep breaths. Let's be present. And make sure that the stretch is happening at the hips. You're not tensing up the shoulders, the face, the arms. Everything else is quite relaxed. Deepen the stretch if you need it. Back toe tucks under. You're pulling that foot back slightly to deepen the stretch. If that's still not enough, your front foot, inch it forward so that the front shin is a little bit more in line with the front of your mat. So if you twist it on the other side, you'll want to do the same thing on this side too. You'll slowly make your way up, and we're twisting towards the bent knee. So you can do this with the right forearm on the ground, and that way your chest is facing that bent knee. Or if you're a little bit more open, you thread that arm all the way through. And if you need a little bit more than that, that left arm can bring it across the low back, so you get a little bit more of a spinal twist, and we hold it here. And we've got 3 to 5 more deep breaths. One more. Okay, so wherever you are, you'll slowly, mindfully come back up into your tabletop or downward facing dog and walk it out and make some intuitive movements. Okay. All right. And then we're going to come into shoelace. So we're going to sit down, grab a seat again. And again, if you have rounded spine when you sit down, blanket should be really helpful to prop you up a little. Okay. So we'll start with the legs straight out in front of us. And it won't matter which side you do it. But I'm not sure if you're seeing right or left. So I'm going to say right. Let's bring the right foot in and bring it over to the opposite side. And the sole of that foot will be exposed. Okay, so it's not flat on the ground. You're exposing the sole of the foot. So this shoelace, half shoelace, especially if you have knee issues, it's a great alternative. It still gives you a stretch for the hip and an extra hamstring stretch too. But if you have no issues coming into shoelace, you can tuck the foot in. So sometimes if this hurts your knee, it does help to place a pillow under the knee, just give you a little support there. Okay. All right. So wherever you are, you can stay upright if you're feeling the stretch. If you're not quite feeling it, you're going to start bowing forward, and it's okay to soften the spine, round it out slightly, as long as you're not overdoing it. You're not consciously rounding the spine. Okay, so belly towards the knee and then softening. Just one more breath here. Start to make your way back up. Don't uncross the legs first. The leg that's on top, okay, we are going to take a side bend towards that side. So towards the right side, if you did the same as me, right hand on the ground, and you can just do a little lean like that, and you should feel a little bit of a tug to the side body. And if you don't quite feel enough, you can take that hand and reach it over. It should give you quite a bit here. I only got 3 breaths here. One more. Okay, and then come on back up and just pay attention to which leg's on top. We want to make sure we do the opposite side. A little windshield wiper, stretching out those legs. Okay. And then when you're ready, we're going to do the other side. So again, if you have knee issues, okay, sole of that left foot is exposed, you're lining up the knee as best as you can. You can tuck that foot in, and you can always place something under the knees. Upright. If you're thinking of bowing forward, belly towards the knee, and then it's okay to soften the spine. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Almost there. One slow and steady breath. Okay, take your time to come back to seated upright, and we're bending so top knee, we're bending towards that same side. So your left hand will be on the ground. And if this feels enough, you're just leaning over. If you need more, the other hand reaches up and over. So we've got those 3 deep breaths here. Good. Inhale, come on back up. Lean back so that you can uncross the legs, and some movement here, windshield wipers, or stretching those legs out. And we're actually coming on to our back right away. So if you like a quick sip of water and grab a sweater on your way down if you're if you're starting to cool down, we're going to do our final twist on our back. And you may need a blanket for this one, especially if you need a little support for the twist, but most of you probably won't need it. I'm just going to demonstrate with it. Okay, so let's come on down to our backs first, and knees in for a little hug and a twist, and a roll out, hug and a roll out. Okay. And then we're just going to come into a simple spinal twist. For this one, we'll bring the right knee in, and you may or may not need a blanket by your left hip. Okay? So the other leg is quite straight on the mat. It doesn't have to be straightened all the way. A slightly bent is fine. And you're taking the right knee towards the left side. Okay, so you're twisting the spine. Okay, so this is where the prop may come in handy. You can place it under the knee. And you can use the weight of your left hand to physically anchor that knee down onto the ground, onto your prop. And then your other arm, let it drop open. And that arm may or may not come all the way down into the ground. Maybe over time it will. So for this one, your arm is about shoulder height, palms up. And then the final thing you'll do is to turn your gaze away from the knee. So turning your gaze away from the knee. All right. And allow the body to relax. Take those deep breaths here. Yeah, just another 3 to 5 more breaths. Last one. Okay. So you start to unwind the spine first by just bringing that right arm back over to the left side, and that way you can safely roll onto your back and take any movements here, roll outs, windshield wipers. And then when you're ready, you'll set up for the other side. And if you use a bolster or your blanket on the left side, you'll want it on the right side too. Okay, so place the blanket close to the right hip, and then draw that left knee in towards the chest for a hug, and then we're twisting over to the right side. So use your right hand to anchor that knee, and then we'll open up, let that left arm open up about shoulder height, and turn your chin away from the knee. Another 3 to 5 more breaths to go. Last one. Okay. We're going to unwind the spine, left arm back over to the right side, and then rolling onto your back. So we will be coming into Shavasana soon. We'll be lying on our backs and just being in a comfortable position. So if you would like to set up your props here, maybe a blanket under the head, or if you have a hard time lying on your back in Shavasana, a rolled up blanket under the knees should be very nice too. Just gives you flattens out your low back a little. Okay, so make sure you're very comfortable. Take any final movements that you'd like to take. And then when you're ready, stretch out. Make sure the body is splayed out evenly on the mat. Shoulders relaxed away from the ears. Let the toes fall open. Palms facing upwards towards the sky, towards the ceiling. Close your eyes. Feel tension drain away from the body, physical and mental tensions. Just let it flow off of you. Grow heavier, sink deeper, and feel calmness sweep through you from feet all the way to the crown of your head. And with relaxed body and relaxed mind, enjoy your Shavasana. Enjoy peace. Very slowly, peacefully and calmly, begin to make your way back onto your mat and onto your space. Wake up the body with some small movements of your fingers, your toes, rolling out of your wrists and ankles. Just bringing sensations back to the body. Gently let the head drop side to side to side. And if you'd like to take a stretch, a big stretch, reach your arms overhead, stretch long from toes to fingertips with the inhale, and then exhale to release, to let go. And perhaps a hug of the knees into the chest. Give that good roll out. And then when you're ready, come on back up, grab a seat. And to close off the class, as a group, we will be taking an inhale in through the nose, and then just a huge sigh, a big exhale out through the mouth, just letting go of all tension as you do that. Okay, let's do that together as a group. Let's take our big inhale, a big exhale. Thank you very much, and namaste.